Emily Chang, and this is Bloomberg West. Glassdoor is out with its annual list of top companies to work for. This year's winner, Google, the search giant known for generous company perks, including free food, shuttles, laundry services, even massages. Other companies near the top of the list, Facebook, Apple, LinkedIn, and noticeably absent from the list is Twitter. Could the executive shuffle be to blame? With me now, Glassdoor co-founder and CEO Robert Hohman. So first of all, Twitter was on the list last year. Now it's not on the list at all. What's going on?
Well, it's true. Twitter was actually the top ranked tech company last year.
I mean, that's a really big plunge.
It's a pretty big move. Now, they're still a great place to work. I mean, from the standpoint of they're well above average in terms of their ratings, but they just didn't make the top 50. This phenomenon where a company ranks really highly in the year that they go public, their IPO year, is pretty common. There's a pretty big halo in the employee base around them. And then the year after an IPO, it's not uncommon to see some churn. Twitter probably has had more than most. You know, they have a new COO, a new VP of engineering, a new VP of media, a new CFO. And employees point to a lot of reorgs in the product and engineering teams. And as a result, satisfaction has fallen some. I personally think Twitter's going through adolescence. Dick Costolo's an amazing leader. I suspect he's making the changes that need to happen at Twitter, and we're probably going to see them back next year.
You know, you mentioned a lot of people who've been turned over. I speak to a lot of Twitter employees as well who seem quite happy. Remind us, how do you put this list together? How many people do you survey, and how do you come up with these rankings? Sure.
So every month, tens of millions of people visit Glassdoor, and we collect hundreds of thousands of reviews and ratings from employees who work at these companies. They tell us how much confidence they have in their senior leadership, what the work-life balance is like in a quantitative way, and they also write in words what it's like at these companies. So we can both, and then the rankings for this list are based mostly on the quantitative analysis of it. We exercise no discretion on it, so it really is the People's Choice Awards for companies.
Okay, so Google at the top, why?
Yeah, so it's interesting with Google. They are sort of building agile HR. The HR team is surveying the employee base very frequently and then trying to respond very rapidly to things that they need. And what's standing out this year is that as the workforce at Google has aged, employees need more support for work-life balance, and in particular, families. So Google has stepped up maternity leave, paternity leave, so on-child daycare.
They have daycare. I know. It's one of the, I wish.
In general.
I wish.
Yeah, in general, they've managed to make Google a place where you can both have a life and give your best to Google. And employees have responded really, really well.
Facebook has dropped a few slots, though. However, why?
There's been a little bit of movement with Facebook. Obviously, still an amazing place to work. They've fallen about 10 slots or so. Employees point to the ability to impact 1 billion people around the world, iconic leadership in Zuckerberg and Sandberg. But on the other hand, it's becoming a really big company.
One of the interesting things is that you're seeing more non-tech companies on this list. Tech companies have been known for the ping pong tables, the massages, the free food, but other companies are actually wising up.
It's true. So I think one of the most interesting things is this year we have more diversity than ever on best places to work. The number of tech companies is actually down. We have more pharmaceutical companies, more retail companies. We have more consulting companies. We even have 2 auto companies on the list this year. Ford and Toyota both made the list this year.
What are they doing?
Well, we're seeing many of them borrow concepts from tech as talent, or as the economy has recovered and the war for talent has moved into their verticals. So in you know, Bain's case, let's say, for example, they've introduced free food. They've introduced flexible work hours. We're seeing flexible work hours at places like Ford, which, you know, previously was the germane of tech companies. And so I think it's really interesting.
So what are the issues that are going to define the list next year?
Well, that's a good question. I think as the war for talent heats up, we will continue to see this trend where companies will go to the mat for the absolute best talent. And then it's going to be about retention because there's only so much great talent to go around. We've seen this in tech, and we're going to see it in other industries. And it's going to be about how can you go beyond sort of the surface level perks, dry cleaning, pet friendly, etc., to the kind of meaningful, deep perks, like providing employees with real work-life balance or real meaning in their work, because that's actually what causes retention.
All right, Glassdoor co-founder and CEO Robert Hohman, interesting stuff. Thanks for sharing the list with us today. We'll be watching next year. Sure.